Security, get in here. These guys are recording a podcast in here. It's called HowDoWeHuman, the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
And today we're going to be talking about security. Feeling secure. From two insecure people. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
But first,
whoa,
Evan, I gotta ask you, how you doing?
All right, I'm doing okay. I do have a couple things to report on. So
you have a little bit more light on you this episode.
Just a little bit. I changed the angle I'm sitting at. We tried recording with my nice camera. Not gonna work. We had to go back to this shitty laptop camera. I do need to just spend money on a good webcam one of these days, but this computer is old as fuck at this point. Anyways, I do have a story, but before I tell that story, I want to say I'm reading my notes off of the Apple Notes app today. And do you know why that is?
Something must have gone wrong with Evernote, your dearly beloved.
What the fuck has happened with Evernote?
What, you have to pay for it now?
Mm-hmm. Check this out. So Evernote's always been free, and you can write as many notes as you want. You just aren't able to share it between computers and do certain other random things. I think save it in the cloud forever, shit like that. And it's that's fine. I don't need that. I'll use the free version. So I've been using the free version for a long fucking time. Did I start using it on the podcast? Or was I already using it by then?
You were using it before the podcast.
I felt like I've been using it for 10 years. I probably haven't, but who knows? Maybe I can look into it. Anyways, we read through the titles of my notebooks a while back.
Yeah.
I've got 100 some notebooks, and I have thousands of notes. This is how much I use Evernote. And I logged on you might remember from using it that pretty much every other time you log in, a big screen will pop up and be like, "You sure you don't want to pay for this, Jack?"
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
no. So I got one of those splash screens and I was like, no. And I went to write my episode notes in it. And then as soon as I went to write the note again, it popped up. I closed it out again and it popped up a third time. And I'm like, I guess I'm actually going to have to read this one.
Ridiculous.
What the hell's going on here? I look. It says, at your price level or your account level, you are only allowed one notebook and 50 notes. Really? So essentially, I've been kicked off of Evernote.
Yeah.
Unless I want to delete thousands of notes and narrow it all down to one notebook. They don't want my business anymore.
Yeah, and by business, of course, you mean
free.
$0.
Yeah. I understand why you make the move. But you know when you make that move? 10 fucking years ago. Not now, after letting me use your app willy-nilly. I hate this shit.
Yeah, it's I feel I tried to use Evernote because you were, so high on it for a while.
Love the stuff.
And I kept getting notices that somebody's hacking into your Evernote. Why? To read my podcast notes?
Yeah.
But it kept happening, and then you'd get blocked out of your thing, and I was like, this app is garbage.
Yeah.
And you didn't believe me, but now here we are.
No.
Evernote is garbage.
It is, and so is the Apple Notes app. Let's be clear. I've never seen a Notes app I liked more than that, and I didn't even love Evernote. I was just elated for it to exist because I'm like, oh, it organizes shit better. So if anyone has any tips, good note-taking apps, email us at HowDoWeHumanPod@gmail.com. Now to tell my story. I'll be quick.
Real quick though. Do you have do you still have access to all of your notebooks of notes on Evernote, or are you like, can you not even get in to look at them
Let's
because...
give a live test.
Okay.
I'm gonna go into our online communities notes. I can access them. Can I edit them? I can. Okay, it's kind of letting me edit them. Maybe I can just edit. I'll just keep one note titled "How Do We Human" episode and just change it out every time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyways, so I'm out here living in the woods. You know this.
Yeah.
We know this. In the woods, in the mountains, in the woods, and gas is expensive everywhere.
Sure.
And I was down at the bottom of the mountain. I had to go to Staples for a Wi-Fi adapter card, and I needed to get gas. I was like, when I'm down there, I'll use my Gas Buddy app, which also remains free. Please let that continue, Gas Buddy, or we're not going to be so buddy, are we? To find the cheapest gas in the area, I found a gas station down the mountain, $4.19 a gallon. And it's sad that that's the cheapest gas I've seen in years.
Yeah.
But that's like a solid $1 cheaper almost than what the usual is around the area. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. So I go over there, I fill up with gas. I'm like, there's got to be a trick to this. No, everything's good. I also needed and still need, the little caps on the air pressure thing on your tires.
Yeah.
I've lost 2 of them. I'm like, sometimes gas stations, decent sized gas stations, such as a Circle K, will carry that in their little auto section. I'll pop in and check. I popped in, didn't have it. Check failed. So I went outside. I'm like, all right.
Did they have for real milkshakes in there, Evan?
Oh, I didn't think to look. I got to see, now that I live somewhere else, I got to see if they have one near me.
Yeah.
I need that. That's the number one thing I need in my life is cold milk.
Yep.
And ice cream. So I'm going to my car. I know where I parked. It's a small little parking area. I hit my car beeper. My car goes beep beep. I walk up to my car and I try to open the door and it won't open. I'm like, fuck. Hit the button again. Beep beep. Pull on the handle. Won't open. You probably understand by now this is not my car.
Yes, I
that
do.
I'm trying to open. I noticed after the second time, and then noticed the windows were tinted, which scared the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, please don't let there be someone in this
Somebody's
car.
inside.
I never really found out, but what did happen was the alarm went off. Like I was breaking into a car, and there were people all around. So I just calmly walked to my car and left. Because to me, I'm like, this lets everyone know he has a car. He's not trying to steal this car. He's got a car. And what would he do? Just leave his car? Clearly he's an idiot, not a thief. And I escaped with that alarm still going. But I hated that feeling. That was awful.
So, I mean, I do have a lot of questions, of course. How far away was your car from the car you were trying to get into?
I'll answer all your fucking questions. The car was right next to my car.
Okay.
So it was blocking the lights, so I would have seen there. It was the same color as my car. It was a different car.
Oh, so like
Obviously.
different make and model
different
also?
Make and model, but exact same color and same, like a sedan, same type of car. And so I just wasn't looking very close. I was probably had my headphones in listening to something. And yeah, the beep beep was so close that I'm like, why would I doubt this is my car? There was no one else parked here before, and it just covered my car perfectly. I don't know. It happened. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll happen to you one day.
Maybe. We'll see.
It'll happen to all of you. Chris!
Yeah.
Oh, you have more questions?
No, I feel like I can at the very least infer the any other questions I may have. I feel like I know the answers. So
I don't like the
carry
sound
on.
of this. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Look, man, there's not really a lot going on over here.
Yeah. Kick your shits
Same
later.
old stuff. Still burned out on this job, whatever. But I was at work last night, and we have TVs in the workplace that customers can see. And it was late, probably around 9:30, 9:40 last night
Okay.
that I was doing some work, and two people walk by me, and one of them turns to the other and is like, "Oh my god, that's the best show. That you gotta watch it." Now I turn and I look at the TV, and I want to know, Evan.
Yeah, what's up?
What do you think was the show that was playing on the TV in a business on a Tuesday night around 9:30? That's such a phenomenal show that a woman in her 40s or 50s was raving about.
I think it's clear that this woman was talking about Superior Donuts. Canceled sitcom with Judd Hirsch. Okay. Well,
That is incorrect. The answer we were looking for, The Voice.
Like the most popular show on the planet.
The Voice is the phenomenal show that
That's
everybody's
so
gotta must-watch television.
You've probably not heard of this show. You might not even know what it's about.
Yeah.
Just check it out. Go in
one
blind.
Of the most popular competition shows.
It's so much stronger when you go in
10
blind.
years. Yeah. Yeah, much like the judges.
Yeah.
They go into every contestant blind.
Yeah. Then they are healed by our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know is they start blind, and as the person sings, they slowly regain their sight. And when they have eyesight again, that's when they hit the button. It's not about if they want them on their team or however that the structure of that show works. It's been on for 10 years, and I have no idea the mechanics of that show, but it's really about whose song brought back the gift of sight to the four famous musical judges.
We need to wrangle a bunch of our former guests and make them compete in The Voice as you and I understand it. People who've never watched The Voice. And crown a winner.
Yeah.
You and I will both pick someone. Here's how I understand it. We'll pick someone and then we'll coach them.
Yeah.
And make them better. And then they can battle each other in a sing-off. It'd be great.
Yeah, love it. You want to talk about security, Evan?
Not particularly.
Uh-oh.
Talk about something else. Nah, I'm kidding. It's all I want to talk about.
He got me.
I got a lot to talk about on the subject, as I've just moved to a remote house in the middle of the woods.
Famous for slashers.
And exactly. That's where I'm coming from. I'm in a weird situation where, like, all my life, since, not all my life after the point when I was planning on moving to Seattle, people told me, like, oh, there's gangs in Seattle. It's dangerous. And the homeless. You're gonna die. Don't move to Seattle. And I moved to Seattle. It was fucking fine. I had so few dangerous encounters. And then I was like, I'm moving to LA. There's gang activity and homeless and drugs, and they're gonna kill you. And I lived there for 7 or 8 years, and I never had an incident. And I never felt particularly like, I shouldn't go out walking at night. Granted, I am a tall white man, so it's a little easier for me to say I'm not afraid to
Sure.
go walking outside at night. But I never had a problem. And now I'm out living in the mountains, middle of the woods. And now I'm like, should I buy a gun? I don't trust everybody out here. And for the record, the majority of the people I've met out here are so fucking nice. Everyone's super friendly. But I think related to our previous episode about drugs and growing up in what briefly was the meth capital of the West Coast.
Sorry you couldn't hold on to the title.
I know, we tried. Unfortunately, all of those meth labs exploded in like
Yeah.
a 5-year period while I was in high school. It was a
Went
pretty,
out with a bang.
and I couldn't believe I did not bring that up in our drug episode, that it was like constant drug lab or meth lab explosions in Elma, Washington. It was a thing. So I think I've got a bit of a distrust towards meth addicts, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And this is what I relate
Can't always take them at their word.
to people in the mountains. I mean, I'm in small town territory, and I'm like, I'm realizing now there's a significant part of me that feels less safe in small towns than I do in major cities because I relate it to meth heads. We had
Okay.
the Spectrum guy come here and install our internet. I'm like, I do not trust this man at all, and I hate that he knows where we live. I'm like, we
Mm-hmm.
gotta close the blinds, lock every door before we go to sleep. And I got my golf clubs. I gotta put a fucking 5-iron by the door, so I'm gonna smack someone in the face.
Yeah.
Anyways, does any of this relate to you feeling more or less secure in small town versus big city?
I don't know about in small town versus big city. I think that I just have a general distrust. Full stop. I think,
Humans, you know.
yeah. I
They're
mean,
bad.
I do also like close the curtains and the blinds, lock all the doors. I do all of that stuff too. Um, and I even like you can't see it, and if I turn my laptop to look at it, it'll probably unplug a bunch of stuff and
Yeah.
mess with my audio and video. But
Always fun.
like right next to me is the Christmas tree,
Okay.
and then the Christmas tree is in a window that's like basically in front of me.
Yeah.
And so we leave the like Christmas tree lights on, but I still like I'll close the curtains at night so that the only thing coming between the curtains is the tree.
Yeah.
That's as like open as I'll get.
Okay.
We have plants in here. The plants need sunlight, so sometimes I'll have the curtains open, but as soon as it's time to go to bed, I'm shutting
Yeah.
those curtains, and then hopefully I'll remember to open them for the plants the next day. But
Yeah. That gives
it's
you a routine. Wake up, open the windows, close the windows, go to sleep.
sure. I don't know if you have experienced this as well. Um, do you feel like when it comes to security and locking the doors and closing everything, are you taking it more seriously than your girlfriend? Does she take it more seriously than you, or is it about the same?
I would say, as far as that goes, that's been more a me thing. Not saying she's being reckless.
Yeah.
She doesn't like disagree, but I'm definitely the one pushing for it. Like, we should make sure these doors are locked. I don't trust
It's
anyone.
it's the same situation here,
Yeah.
where I'm the one that's like,
Come on.
why isn't this locked?
Who's locking the door?
And again, it's not like she's not being like, oh, the door's wide open.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like
it
reckless.
this way.
It's not reckless endangerment, but there is like there's the different perspectives of like, we live in a pretty quiet area,
Yeah.
so it might not be as important, versus the like, yeah, but if it happens, we're fucked.
Yeah.
So why not put a preventative measure in?
It's already built into the door.
I mean, I don't think there's really much crime or anything in this neighborhood that we live in, but still, I don't want to be the first one.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. Yeah, I don't know. Do you I mean, I guess we should watch what we say on this episode. We don't want to suggest either of us is unprepared to protect ourselves.
Sure. Maybe I mentioned this a while ago, but I do have like a it's like a bat, and it's like a high powered flashlight.
Oh yeah, you did mention this. And that's
so
cool.
like, you have the club and I have the bat, basically.
Yeah.
Of like, we do still have some means of protection that will probably, certainly, hopefully, we'll never have to use.
Sitcom idea, you and I are roommates. We're the club and the bat. We live in a place together, and we every episode we get broken in on. And we go to town.
Yeah.
It's the club, here's the bat. It's like an action show. There's something.
Yeah.
There.
An action sitcom. Love it.
Action sitcom. There's not enough of those. It's a fun idea. But yeah, in general, I joke on the top. Joke on the top. That's how we like to start this episode. Joke on the top, and then it's all frosting, baby. But I'm generally not a fan of guns. I don't.
Yeah.
I would never want to like I would never want to carry a gun on me. Granted, I've said I've shot guns before, and it's fun as shit. It's so fun. But I don't. I would not be opposed to like having a gun safe or a lockbox with a gun somewhere, just to have it. But I don't know. This is maybe just a touchy subject to bring up.
Sure.
To get people talking. But I am very intrigued by I got the billboards all over my old neighborhood in LA for those Byrna. They're plasticky guns that shoot like essentially pepper spray bullets. So they're kind of like paintballs.
Oh, okay.
But when they burst, it's pepper spray. I'm like, yeah, that sounds fucking awesome. I could just sit in my bed and pow! Accidentally shoot the dog or something. But nobody got seriously injured. So I don't know. I think about that some nights.
Yeah. That's interesting. I hadn't heard of those.
It's a nice non-lethal option.
I definitely work with people who are big gun aficionados.
Yeah.
I'm friends and in
with
fact,
a lot of gun people.
Just yesterday, one of my supervisors was complaining about political news that he probably doesn't have all the information on, believe it or not, but was basically saying like, hey, I'm such a good shot. If you come into my house, I'll kill you. I won't miss.
Well, thanks for the invite, but
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
home.
pass on the potluck, but it's I don't know. This is like very tangentially related to the topic of security,
Let's do it.
but I mean, similar to like what you're talking about with the pepper spray bullets. I don't know what it is about guns. Maybe it's the widespread tragedies that happen all the time.
Doesn't help.
But like I would rather have something like a crossbow or like or like the pepper spray thing where it's like, we show up at a confrontation and like we each draw our weapons and they're like, whoa, this dude must be crazy. He's got a thing that I don't have and would never have considered bringing.
This guy's either crazy or fucking clueless.
Yeah. That's the line I like to walk in my life.
Yeah, I get that. My old roommate in Seattle had a large like Conan sword, which is like,
oh yeah,
you buy that as like a joke, but then it's also a sword.
But then you have it.
It's also very sharp, and similarly, like, were someone to break into the house, it's an intimidation thing to have a large Conan sword. A broadsword, if you will.
Have you ever had or lived somewhere with security cameras that you could then watch the feed?
I'm glad you asked. I've got a story related to this place, and I promise I won't be getting off of the topic because you might have a story about this. So I have had, on the fun side, I've had access to the security cameras at Walgreens when I worked there, and that is fun as shit.
Nice. Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine who worked with me was climbed up on a ladder to do some stuff, or he was putting signage up and had a thing of scotch tape, one of the big ones that's like weighted down with sand, and he left that on top of the ladder and forgot about it, and then he came back and moved the ladder and it fell down and cracked him on the head. Man, that was some funny security footage.
Yeah.
it was right next to the camera. I mentioned that time I got ghosted on that thing where the pop bottles exploded on me. So that's all I've got of that. I never lived in a place where I had access to security footage. There were cameras at my last apartment, but that was just all went to the building manager, and nothing ever really happened where I would have to request that. But then we move into this place.
Mm-hmm.
And when you pull up, it says, you see, now I'm questioning, like, do I give out this information? But people don't know where I live. It says, secured by blank security camera, blah, 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 blah. A little sign that tells people, don't worry, we've got cameras. And, I'll get there later. Basically, we see that, we go like, oh, is it? We didn't know that. Nobody had mentioned that to us. And we're starting to get a little paranoid, like, well, wait, are there going to be... Like, it feels different. Like, at my last place, an apartment complex, certainly. You got some cameras pointed out in case someone breaks in or one of your tenants is doing something shitty or shady. But when it's a house that you're living in by yourself, the thought that there are security cameras around that your landlords can look at, that feels like a breach of personal privacy that we should have been told about. And so, we're like, well, let's look around and see if we see anything. We see things that look like cameras, and we're like, holy shit, what do we do? Like, we came up with a friendly way to bring it up to the landlords and just be like, we were like, hey, we noticed there was the sign and we see there's some like cameras around. Should we have access to that? Like in case someone's breaking in, just kind of trying to get like, the fuck's going on?
Are the cameras inside the house or are they outside, like pointing around outside? Or is it both?
Is we're seeing cameras outside, and that's making us go like, there could be cameras inside. I don't fucking know. You could get a spy cam that fits in a button. There could be a camera anywhere. But when we asked about it, they were like, oh no, that was the last tenant had set those up and they took the cameras with them. So there aren't actually cameras. And we looked again, and it's just motion sensors. So there are lights with motion sensors that used to have a camera. And when you look close, you could see there's like a USB cable hanging down. And I'm like, okay, we're cool. But man, there was a brief moment where we're like, fuck, did we get ourselves in a situation where our landlords are just spying on us?
Yeah.
That was unsettling. But yourself, much experience with the old cams?
Yes. In my last apartment, so there had been a day where I was at home.
Is that going to be the first time you've cleared your throat that I'll have to edit out? This is amazing. This is exciting for me as an editor who has edited out some thousand of myself clearing my throat. I'm going to edit it out. And you might think because we talked about it, I'll leave it in. But no, it's not going to be there. You're not going to know what I'm talking about. But this is important to me. Go on.
There was a day where I was at home at my last apartment and I think I've talked about this on the podcast, but I heard like someone in the unit next door, like screaming like, who are you? Get out of here. Right. And so, by the time I found out what was going on, it was basically she was moving in or she was moving stuff inside, like from a delivery or something, and had propped open the building door and her own door.
Oh boy.
And had just left them both open so that she could go back and forth.
Yeah.
And in doing so, some random person came into the building and came into the unit. And then I guess when she screamed at him, then he took off.
Wow.
But
that sucks. Oof.
I told my roommate about that.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, sounds like we need several cameras inside our unit.
That's right. I forgot you had a security system.
So we got a security system with at least, I think it was one camera and then like 2 motion sensors. So the camera was inside the unit facing the door. So if you enter or leave, it'll record you entering or leaving and then it'll shut off.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 motion sensors. There was one by the window in the kitchen and then the window in his room. Because he was pretty sure that like, just because we're 3 stories up doesn't mean somebody can try and get through my window.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, you can have one. Okay. We'll put the other one in the kitchen. I think I'm good.
Okay, Rapunzel.
And then it was an app on our phone that would be like, motion detected. And, you would look and it would be like, oh, he left for work. There was also then a pin pad right by the door where you would enter a security code.
Yeah. 6969.
That's right. And we never had anything happen that we would need it for. There was also a gigantic sticker from that security company that we put on our like apartment door.
Yeah.
That like took up a massive, it was probably like the size maybe a little bit bigger than my head
Well, it's
was the
probably the
size of the
same
sticker
size
on
as
the
the one
door.
we have out here, but that's for a tree in the driveway. Not an
Exactly.
apartment door.
Not an apartment door.
But sometimes I do feel like, because I'll drive around and see those, or you see them like staked out in the yard. And it's like, I feel like that's the most valuable part of a security system, is just having that out. Even if you don't have
Yeah, it's just
shit.
like hey, move along, try the next house. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. My
but yeah,
security
I mean,
system's Macaulay Culkin. Now.
I
You think he hasn't gotten better at this shit? Guy's lost his fucking mind.
do you think he teaches his 2 children, like,
Security.
here's what to do in case somebody breaks in?
there's
You
a
know, your
sketch
mom and
here.
I, you know, I don't want to, you know, sound like I've got an ego, but your mom and I are both, you know, sort of well known.
Yeah.
So people might try to break in. This is why we have all these paint cans and all
electric
these loose
fences,
nails that you can stick into the floor.
staple guns.
Yeah.
Cardboard cutouts that dance.
Yeah. That's why we have that cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan.
Get your toys out of the cardboard cutout room. It's for security. You don't play in there. The whole room of the house.
I know you kids are afraid of spiders, but we have to keep this tarantula in the cardboard cutout room.
Sorry, I interrupted.
I was just basically going to say, like, we never saw anything. We never needed the security footage. It was only nice to know, like, oh, is my roommate home? Or did he leave? Like, that was all I ever used it for.
Like an old sock on the door.
Yeah.
But, no, it's like insurance. It's the same fucking thing where it's like, oh, if it's working, like nothing happened. But
right,
there's no way to know, like, did someone ever like walk past and see that sign and go like, oh, no, not today. Da, 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 da. There's just no way to know, but it feels like there was no reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that,
assurance.
Like, I guess it was. I mean, he and I both interpreted that story of the person next door having somebody in their apartment. We both interpreted it differently. He was like, we need to heighten our security measures. And I was like, make sure you close that door.
Yeah.
Like, it's very different interpretations.
Not make it easy for people.
Right.
Interesting. Because if that's that's the same place I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's like you had 2 levels of security there. There's the front door and then your apartment door. That's different. And that's different from my place where I was on ground floor, and that always felt like, I don't know, something could happen.
Right.
If anything's going to happen, my apartment is one of the ones that would be readily available.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go there now. I'm not there anymore. It's empty. Still haven't
Drop
got my
that address.
Drop that address. I kind of want to, but then we're really specifying who my landlord was, and they still haven't given me my deposit back. So let's
we gotta wait a little bit. Yeah.
Then I'll have a party there. We'll invite everyone. I want to talk real quick about keys.
Yeah, on Van Nuys.
That in particular, I was sitting there going like, "There's no way I can mention keys without Chris saying keys on Van Nuys."
Keys on Van Nuys.
And it happened, and I'm like, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I want to talk about keys, locks. We got locks. We got multiple locks on our garage out there,
and bagels.
I love bagels and locks. That's good shit. I haven't looked for a bagel place out there. I'm gonna have to check it out. We're still getting used to it. It's a banger. Mexican restaurant and pizza place within a 5-minute walk of here, though. So
Oh, nice.
that's the good shit. And a Jersey Mike's. We just got delivery yesterday, so we're doing
Nice.
fine. Anyways, particularly I'm talking about keys because we moved into a new place. You might have heard.
Yeah, from you.
Fortunately, I would say, one door entry. I don't like. Granted, if I lived in a big enough house, sure, maybe I'd want a back entry. But there is something nice about knowing, like, this is the door. I lock
Right.
that, and then you got windows to worry about. But I don't know. There's something off-putting about, like, even if you're facing that door, there's a door behind you. Again, I've probably just watched too many horror movies that any of this
Are you
occurs to me.
trashing my apartment, Evan?
Yeah,
I have 2 doors.
you do have 2 doors. That's awesome. We didn't even talk about that. I've now been to your place. You invited my girlfriend and I over, and we quite enjoyed your place. You got a nice little way in to your apartment the way we came in, and that's nice. It's a little distance between the door. You got a little sitting area there. That's the good shit. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried about that side. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm not trashing your place. I swear, I loved it. But so when you move into a new place, you get your keys. Our keys,
Right?
And this is new to me, which is apparently just been around forever. But using lock boxes for dropping off and picking up keys. In both ways, I didn't have a person to drop off the keys with or to pick up the keys from, and both used lock boxes. They're just giant, like you chain it onto a fence or something, put the keys in there, and then change the number on it, and then they just give you the number, you pop it in, and there are your keys. And I popped that little sucker open, and there were 2 keys. One, the original key for the house. The other, a copy of the key made by the former tenant, who was military, and decided if he's going to have a fucking key to this place, it's got to be an American flag with an eagle's face on it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, being the gentleman that I am, I'm not sticking my girlfriend with that. I'm like, I guess I'm taking the eagle key. So I should have brought it up here. I'm not going down there right now. Too far to walk. This house is so big. But like, just every time I pull out my keys, I'm like, there it is. It's that weak sounding bird, the eagle.
Do you think that you'll make a different copy, or are you like, nope, I'm an eagle and flag man from now until the end of the lease?
Because I'm not an eagle and flag man generally. Here's the thing, and maybe that's just bringing up another story for another episode. But like, what's worse or more awkward? Like, so few people are going to see my house key.
Sure.
So I can have that for the entirety of my time living here, or guarantee I will have one face-to-face conversation with a local about this key. Whether they love it or they don't love it, it's mine. And I have to explain it. And that sounds awkward as fuck to me.
Why wouldn't you just take the original key and get that one duplicated?
I haven't.
Why would you take the duplicate to get a duplicate of the duplicate?
Here's the thing. To be fair, I gave my girlfriend that key. I haven't seen it, but in my experience, normally,
are you gonna see her again?
I'm not expecting to. She just went out for errands. She might not come back. I haven't seen that key, but in my experience, the original key says "do not copy" on it, and they won't copy it because they don't want you going willy-nilly and giving everyone in your life keys. They want you to have those 2 keys. My key does not say "do not copy" on it, possibly for the reason that it's a flag and an eagle on it. And my landlord was like, they might want to change this. We'll see. I'll take a look at it. If I can copy that one, I'll just copy that one.
Okay.
But yes, for right now, my mind is ready to have an potentially awkward situation. I've never made a copy of a key. I don't. No, I've done it once. Good story, huh?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Speaking of duplicating keys, my building manager, they want to, because we have like individual garages separate from
Nice.
the like actual apartments,
Gotta keep them separated.
and they sent an email the other day that was like, hey, we feel like there's evidence of termites. We just want to check everybody's garages and see like what it looks like in there, if we need to do any treatment or anything.
Yeah.
But he was like, we don't have a copy of your garage's key. So can you give us one of, the two of your garage keys, and then we'll make a copy and give it back to you. And like, I know that he's the building manager and like, manages the property, but I'm still like, no, I don't want you to get into my garage.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's here tomorrow, then I will give him one of the keys, but it's still like it's like one of those things, just like in my gut. I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to just give keys to where I live, to people, even though it's his building. So like if anybody should have a key, it's probably him.
Yeah. But I completely get, I mean, that does go back to the where there's security cameras outside the house thing, where it's like, I guess in a certain way they have every right to do that. It just kind of felt like we should have known it before we paid, but obviously there weren't.
Yeah.
But there is that level of like, you're putting a lot of trust into the person you're renting from. I don't think it's talked about enough. It's a weird, they legally have to give you 24 hours to enter the building. Well, that doesn't mean they're not going to do something illegal. It's a weird amount of trust you have to put in a person, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I get that. I think you have two options. One, tie a fishing line to that key, a long fishing line, and give it to him. And then as he's walking away, and it's on a fishing pole, it's got to be. And you just reel it back in and lock the door. Maybe he doesn't notice. Your other option, give him that key, change the lock. The stupid sap. Or just give him the key and trust him.
Yeah. We're
untrusting people, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
How common these concerns are. But, I want to slippy dip into another area, which is, have you ever, I don't think you have, I feel like you would have told me about it, but have you ever considered working security in those? Because to me, that falls in line with like when I was in Seattle and considering like, should I work for the post office? I know it's not a state job, but just like a job where I would have to maybe apply myself less in a mental sense and just kind of do some menial task work or just stand outside of a bar. I don't think either of us would be particularly intimidating bouncers.
No.
But has that ever occurred to you as a career path?
I guess I've thought about it a little bit. There's like, and I don't know why, but there's some like romanticization, if that's the correct way to turn that phrase, of sitting in front of a bunch of security monitors.
Oh yeah, that
seeing what's going on.
That does seem, and you get how people get that way. You're I don't know, Paul Blarts of the world, where it's like that does feel like a certain amount of power. You
Yeah.
may not be able to carry a gun. I got a fucking nightstick and a flashlight or whatever. And I see all.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to really be like an actual guard.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind like being the dispatcher of the guards. You know what I
That's
mean?
good.
Like that's
Yeah.
where you have an eye on everything, you're piecing stuff together, but somebody else has to go do the actual confrontation
Yeah,
stuff.
'cause that's
Like
not for me.
that's I think what I would be interested
Which
in.
I didn't even consider. I've said that before, that working at Walgreens, we had to be our own security. I think now that store has hired a security guard, but yeah, when I was working there, we had to do our own security, and I hated that, doing the
Yeah.
interaction side of it. I think you're right, and I would not mind just sitting behind cameras. Although, focus is tough. Lord knows. How does anybody work? Like, I feel like all security guards have to be older people now, because what young person has the
Yeah.
attention span to just sit
Yeah,
and
totally.
watch cameras all day without popping on the old soch, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like I wouldn't mind that type of work. I have had friends who have worked as security guards. When I was in high school, older buddy of mine he was mall security, had a Segway and everything, and he would
Nice.
get us. There was I think I think it was pretzels, Annie Ann's maybe, and they would have the day's old pretzels and the movie theater's old popcorn, and he would just get them all in big garbage bags, and we'd all hang out and eat popcorn and pretzels. Life was different in high school. it,
Yeah.
it felt like an exciting story, and then I told it.
Yeah, we ate pretzels
We
and
ate
popcorn out of garbage
we-
bags.
We ate garbage pretzels.
My friend was so cool.
Shout out. I won't say your name, so no shout out, but you know who you are. Shout out. And then my other friend, I'll say his name, my other friend Ben, did work security like outside. I believe it was like bus terminal security. So he'd have to be outside, walking, being alert, watching what's going on. And he was trying to get me into that because I believe at that time I was still working. He and I were film school buddies, and he actually left early and just got a job doing security instead, and used the money he saved to buy a camera. I think we all looked back on it. I was like, that was smart.
Yeah.
That was a clever way to do it. But he said he was making like, I want to say it was like $50 an hour, like crazy money, because it's moderately
Yeah.
dangerous and boring, and it's a lot to ask of someone. And yeah, I'd be lying if I thought like that does kind of sound better than Walgreens. But I
Oh
never pulled the
yeah. I
trigger on it.
mean, yeah, same. I had a friend who was doing a lot of like PA work on film sets,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he didn't have a project that he was staffed on, sometimes he would do security like overnight, like I think watching like certain filming locations or something like that. Like it was very much just like sit here, make sure nobody shows up, basically. It
Yeah.
was like his whole job. And he would sit there and like, do some writing, or uh he called me a couple times while he was on the job, like, but I mean never really had much of anything to do while he was there,
Yeah.
but got paid pretty good money to just make sure that nobody came and messed around with the stuff, I guess, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it truly isn't that different from working at Walgreens. Like, you got your busy times where it's just like, oh, I'm at the register. You're working the register. It's busy. Yeah, you're just standing there doing that the whole day, which that's also a part, which breaks me now.
Yeah.
I can't fucking do that. But like, yeah, a lot of the job is probably more so for IKEA. A lot of the job is just standing around, and then you'll have to interact with someone at some point.
Yeah.
You might stock shelves more than a security guard might. Which is like, when you put it that way, it's like, is that better or worse? Like, if you could go back to IKEA, not be responsible for any of the actual like customers in a customer service sense, but you're just like standing there watching in case something goes wrong. Is that better? It might be.
I mean,
if it
yeah,
pays better,
there was a lot.
It might be.
There was a loss prevention team
Mm-hmm.
at IKEA. But I don't know. They all kind of like I was friends with one of the people on that team, but for the most part, it was like, you know, we're all pretty tough because we're a loss prevention, and like
loss.
I wouldn't fit in over there, so I never really considered it because I was like, I don't know if I can, like, I don't think I fit in with this group.
I'm loss prevention too. You say from behind them, push them aside like curtains.
Yeah.
And I'm here too. Well, I mean, it's tough to know because we lost internet for a second and our time is off. I think we've come to the end, though. Does that feel right?
I think we have as well. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot more that we could probably talk about, but we are kind of wrapping things up.
We kind of are. We learned sometimes just buy a fucking sticker to put outside of your place. That gets a lot of the job done. Non-lethal weapons is what we're into. Yep. Come find us. We're out here. Yeah, security guard, not necessarily bad work, but I don't think I could do it now. I think standing that long would destroy me. I'm weak.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you gotta get the job where you sit in the chair and look at the screens all day.
I mean, that's what I do now. I sit in the chair and look at screens all day. Pretty cushy.
Yeah. I mean, after the wedding here in a couple months, I'm gonna be going hard looking for other jobs. So
fun stuff.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see if those jobs exist, and I'm sure they don't pay as well as they used to when we knew people who did that, but maybe we'll see.
Maybe that's a way to word, because I was going to ask, like, hey, any listeners out there got some job opportunities? Let us know. But, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe job, because that was one of our earliest episodes. Or was that, second episode, I think? Oh, boy, howdy, that's a big spider on the wall.
What are you talking about? Like job interviews?
We did job interviews, but yeah, maybe
that was
like
number
three,
I believe.
Maybe like job search, job prospects, career considerations. I think there's something, because I also had mentioned like having to update your resume. That's its own fucking thing. But we could wrap that all into an episode. But that's it for this one. And if you enjoyed it, you could watch this spider slowly crawl up my wall. It's nasty, and I hate it. I kind of want it to die.
Welcome to the woods.
We've had a spider that I first saw up here. I put him in. Jocelyn's giggling. I put him in a red Solo cup, and then dropped him and shrieked, and then put the cup back over him and caught one of his legs. And his leg tore off. That same spider has returned multiple times because it's missing a leg.
Is this the same spider?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this is a new, big, nasty, 8-legged freak. And I hate it. Oh, there is. Nasty ass. I'm coming for you after we're done here. Anyways. You could leave us reviews. You can listen to more of us. That's what I meant to say. You can listen to more of us anywhere you get your podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify, except for a couple episodes. Go find us. Go listen to more. We got a massive back catalog, over 200 episodes. If you're watching the video, you see my eyes are on this motherfucker because I don't want him going somewhere I miss. Leave us reviews, leave us ratings. Anything native to the platform you listen helps us and helps other people find us. And we love to be found. It's like podcasting is a big hide and seek game, and we're way too good at hiding.
Yeah.
Let us be sought. Also, if you want to chat with us, you can find us on the old social media. We're on Instagram at HowDoWeHuman.
We got that handle.
We're on, what are we on? Facebook at HowDoWeHuman.
Ooh, we face those books.
We're on, like I just mentioned, we're on YouTube. You can watch video of this shit. And you can find that at HowDoWeHuman.
YouTube.
If you want to, leave us a message, send us some job ideas, career opportunities, the ones that never knock, said the Clash. But you can send us an email. That's howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
The best part of that handle
Mm.
is that it's an address.
That's great, Chris. What do you got going on?
It's the holiday season, so whoop-de-doo and dickory-dock.
Dickory-dock.
And I am going to create a new Christmas movie, but we hear so much about the three wise men, right?
Yeah,
we hear so much about them.
It's
is the premise that I'm setting up.
This time of year,
we hear so much about them.
They're viral.
This new Christmas movie is about those three, but hey, they might be called the wise men, but they're really a trio of wise guys, if you know what I mean.
Oh, man.
So check out my Christmas movie, The Three Wise Guys.
I like that. Baby Jesus.
Yep. Evan, anything you'd like to plug?
I'd like to plug a way to kill large spiders. Flamethrowers get big. Elon Musk's out there like, I made a flamethrower. It's like, that will burn my fucking house down.
Yeah, can you point it at thyself?
What? What? I don't know, like a pen size. I guess a lighter's kind of like that, but it needs to shoot a small flame. So I can guarantee that just the spider bursts into flames and then nothing else.
Ooh, well, on Instagram, I saw a targeted ad, and I don't really understand how it works, but it's a little Harry Potter wand, and you do like a little flick like that, and it shoots fire.
Oh, I gotta get me one of those. So now I'm making those, and it will be called The Interesting Company.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not targeted at anyone in particular.
All right, well, Evan's got to get this spider.
Yeah, if I had my camera, I'll probably disconnect myself if I tried to show you the spider, but he's nasty.
All right, well, let's let Evan get that nasty little freak.
I got to get him. We got to get out of here.
Okay, bye.
Give you one 8-legged bye.